All right. It is 8:30 on February 4th. I will call the regular monthly meeting for the Environment and Land Use Committee to order. Roll call of committee members. We'll start with Kevin.
Whalen here.
Todd here.
Munson here.
Larson here.
Severson here.
Nelson here.
Klein here.
And staff members.
Morning, Susan Fisher, Corporation Counsel.
Haley Passo, DLM.
Mark Carlson, DLM.
Rick Reisinger, DLM.
Kathy Nelson, DLM.
Becky Gluen, County Administrator.
Okay, thank you all. I certify that open meeting law requirements have been met with proper posting. We have a 16-item agenda. Any changes?
Motion to approve the agenda is presented.
Move to approve by Larson.
Second.
Second by Whalen. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Has everyone read through the minutes from January 7th? Corrections or additions?
I move to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Second.
Move from Whalen, second from Munson. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 6, review and approve the 2025 wildlife damage claims. Discussing, is David, oh, he's on virtual, okay, good. David Terrell from USDA.
Yeah.
Hope I didn't
me.
butcher your name.
Nope, you did great. So, so for all the committee members that might remember, with the wildlife damage abatement and claims, for any person who is fully enrolled in the damage program, they are eligible to make a claim. We go out in the fall and do an appraisal on those crops, and then we submit them to the county for approval based on their enrollment status and the crop prices that we agreed upon last October, things like that. So this year we have 3 claims for Trempealeau County. The first one, Tim Johnson, he had a bear actually come into his barn and killed 2 of his sheep. So if you want to know the story about this a little bit, I had a neighbor of his about a mile away, straight line mile away, that called and said a bear was getting into their garage and it was trying to pull siding off of the house. I talked to that landowner and he said it was his mom's house and there was actually like a beehive in the walls of the house. And so I was going to go over there and trap that, but it was going to take me a couple of days to get over there. So I ended up in the interim, Tim Johnson called me and said he had a bear that attacked his sheep and killed one and severely injured the other one. They were $600 a piece, so $1,200. The second one eventually died. And I said, well, okay, we might want to set up a trap there because it's a depredating bear. And he says, oh, I killed it. And so I was like, okay. Did you tell the DNR that you shot this bear? He's like, well, I don't know if I remember doing that. It's like, well, when we get off the phone, you need to call them back right away and let them know you shot this bear. So like I said, this was like 1.2 straight line miles between these 2 places. And to have a nuisance bear of this caliber getting into a place that close to each other, it was a pretty good chance that it was the same bear. The DNR went out there, looked at it. They didn't take any action because it was any depredating bear that we catch in the state of Wisconsin, we euthanize anyway. So it all just worked out. And then I called the other cooperator that had complained about the bear getting into the garage and tearing off siding on the house. I said, just hold off a little bit because we may have solved our problem, which we did. It was done. But anyway, so Tim was enrolled. He did have a couple of sheep that got killed. So they were $600 a piece. The payable claim $700 because that $500 deductible. The other 2 were deer. Charlotte Nelson and Greg Tollefson. You've probably seen those a number of times coming to these committees. Charlotte had a lot of damage, but she's usually right around that max claim mark. She was just under it this year. But no issues really with their enrollment as far as the program is concerned. They met the the conditions of their permit, so they shot their deer on in a timely manner, and they didn't have any hunter access issues or anything like that. And as far as letting us know in a timely manner, everything was good with those two. So there's nothing really on those two issues, two claims to really hang us up on anything. Just as a summary for the county, we had 4 deer enrollments. 2 of them were the managed, Charlotte and Greg, and 2 of them were Act 82. That's a shooting permit only, where they're not eligible to make a claim, but they also don't have to allow public hunting on their property. The ones that are eligible and fully enrolled do. We had 6 bear enrollments. One was a full enrollment. That's Tim Johnson's bear, and then the other one were part of our apiary program, where bears getting into beehives, things like that. Just another side note, when it comes to bears in Trempealeau County, we came really close to having 2 more enrollments of basically corn-eating bears in the county. That happens all the time up north. They trap and relocate bears that are getting into milk stage corn all the time. I mean, literally hundreds of bears, probably between 300 and 400 bears a year that are getting into corn. They will trap and relocate. We don't have that much of that stuff in the South that warrants a call from us. And this year we did. I think they got hung up on the part about that program where they would have had to allow bear hunting on their property. Not sure how much interest they would have gotten for somebody wanting to use their Zone C bear tag in Trempealeau County and a bear that hasn't probably been seen since the middle of summer. But they didn't want to. They chose not to enroll. But we did go out. We flew one field with a drone, and were able to see some damage throughout the field. But he didn't think it was enough. He felt he could absorb it. And the other one, it was pretty significant bear damage on this field. But again, he didn't want to have bear hunters on his property. I think he wanted to do some bear hunting, and then he was a pretty avid deer hunter and didn't want to disturb that kind of thing. So they both, but that could be coming in future years. More of that stuff. I would think that might be something that we'll see more of in the future. So I guess those are the 3 that need to be approved. Don't have the physical copies there at the meeting. Obviously, we're doing this remote, so hopefully we can work something out where if we approve this, it's in the minutes, and then I can have me or a specialist, Tabby, come over and get it signed by a county representative, and then we'll do it that way. Is there any questions on the claims or the program in general?
Any questions for David?
Maybe it's a refresher. Where does the money come from for payment for the claims?
Yeah. Yep. So the entire damage program, when it comes to the budget for the administrative part or for the claims part, comes from a pot of money that is generated from a surcharge on deer hunting licenses, which so it's like $2-3 or something for when you buy a deer license, and then it's a couple of bucks if you buy a conservation patron's license. It gets kicked into a pot, and then a portion of the sale of the additional antlerless tags that get sold in the state go into that pot as well. So this money is all pass-through money from the county's perspective. It is paid for by the DNR from all aspects of this program. So it's not county tax levy money or property tax or anything like that.
Okay, very good. Any other questions?
Motion to approve the damage claim for $17,859.05.
Motion by Larson,
Second.
second from Severson. Any other discussion?
I have one thing
Okay.
I would like to have in the minutes because Dave is not here, and he does need a signature. And Dave and I talked a little bit yesterday about if I would be able to sign that, if you guys approved it and then designated me as the signer when I meet up with Dave. Otherwise, he would have to meet up with you, Kellen. So it's up to you guys. I just wanted to bring that up if that is okay, and then we can designate it.
To include the signature as requested.
Yeah,
Second.
need a second, yeah. Okay. All right. If there's no other discussion, all in favor of approving the damage claims and allowing Haley to sign, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, David, for the report. It's quite interesting.
And then just as I know Tabby's on the phone or on the line as well. She's listening in. She is going to be working out of our Volk Field work unit. So the work unit that we have out of Black River Falls that includes Trempealeau County is still vacant. I don't know if Quinn was with us last fall. He moved over to Wisconsin Rapids. So we're still looking for a person, but we've actually gotten that the job announcement closed Friday, and we're lining up interviews for the end of this week, beginning of next week. So hopefully by the time I talk to you in October, I'll have a new person raring to go and well on their way into the damage program. So, and I'll introduce you to them for sure.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Summary of 2025 Wildlife Abatement and Claims Program.
I think that's really what we went over here. We were just trying to figure out, because he was going to be potentially in person, if we needed the separate motion and everything like that. So I think unless, Dave, you had anything else, we can probably skip 7.
And if anything else?
No, I kind of included, I guess, the summary in with all the rest of that as well.
No, it was good. So thank you. All right, then item 8, introduction of Hannah McKeever, Community Development Extension.
Okay, good morning. So I am Hannah McKeever. I am the new Community Development Extension Educator for Trempealeau and Clark County, so it's a 50-50 split appointment. And I'm here Tuesdays and Wednesdays in office and rotating Fridays each month. So today I just kind of wanted to introduce myself and say a little bit about kind of the wonderful world, the all-encompassing world of community development and where that really puts me and how I can help provide education to you guys. So in your packet, you should have a little flyer that looks like this. So, and this just basically kind of goes over typical education that I have previously provided. So I actually came from Vernon County prior to this appointment here in Trempealeau and Clark counties. So I've worked with comprehensive planning education. Some of those terms can get a little fun to go through. So I have worked through public engagement sessions and helping to educate there as well. Housing education, so where the cross-section of zoning and land use can happen too, and how you get creative in your counties to help explore what that looks like if you need to create density in an area because you don't have really a way to grow out for land use or we live in the driftless area, so Trempealeau still kind of covers that area. And with that being said, our bluff areas don't always allow us to build out a little bit. So, and it can affect our utilities, our EMS response times, things like that. So I am able to provide education over those types of things as well as renewable energy. So the state, through UW Extension, we had a grant that we got a little over a year ago. And it's for the energy, renewable energy siting and engagement for tomorrow, or RESET. So hopefully you may have heard a little bit about that, but coming from Vernon County where we piloted it along with Greene counties and Taylor County, we are currently building a toolkit that communities will use. The whole state will be able to have access to it. But the biggest thing is talking through land use agreements for solar or wind energy usage. And we do have one of our local government educators that's a licensed attorney by trade. So he has created kind of a guide for landowners that they can utilize that information to go through. There's a companion guide sheet as well, in which they can go through, and if they are having conversations with a developer, because the wonderful fact is a developer can come in at any point in time. They don't need permission from a county to come in and talk with a landowner. And so really, to safeguard landowners, we've worked through creating these outlines and guides for people to be able to understand what their rights are, what they can and cannot negotiate within it, as well as just understanding what potential ordinances look like for communities when they want to talk through how are they going to regulate or adapt to the changing world that we have in the state of Wisconsin. As hopefully many of you know too, the Governor Evers did say that by, I think it's 2050, a third of the state will be utilizing solar energy. So that comes up to just under 3% of actual farm or cropland usage. So we're talking like 2.35%. It's a very, very small percentage. It sounds scary. It sounds bigger than what it really is. It's not. And I have all that information too, and I'm happy to talk to anybody about it or talk through any myths or anything else about solar and wind energy in Wisconsin. So that's my brief overview. I will not take too much of your time. So it sounds like you have quite a busy agenda. So any questions?
Any questions for Hannah?
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome, thank you.
Nice to meet you.
25 nutrient management update from Rick.
Good morning. I'm starting to get a few nutrient management plans in for this year, so I thought it might be a good time to give an update on our nutrient management program and review 2025. A nutrient management plan is a guide to help landowners and producers responsibly utilize both manure and commercial fertilizer on their farms. When a farmer follows a nutrient management plan, it can help them reduce the need to purchase fertilizer, and it can also help prevent soil and nutrients from entering surface water and our groundwater. Many Trempealeau County landowners and producers, along with their plan writers, play a vital role in protecting our natural resources by developing and implementing these plans. In 2021, we received 70 plans covering 29,960 acres in Trempealeau County. Last year, we were up to 99 plans, and that covered 62,765 acres. These plans covered about 36% of our cropland in Trempealeau County and included landowners in every single township. Along with the benefits of following a nutrient management plan, there are some reasons why a landowner must develop a plan. These include if they're involved with a DATCAP program like farmland preservation, or if they've received grant funds from DATCAP for nutrient management related practices. They could be required to have one if they have a DNR notice of discharge, or if they have a Wisconsin, I gotta get this right, pollutant discharge elimination system permit, or basically our KFOs in the county. There are landowners in the county that have livestock and animal waste facility permits. They are required by a county ordinance to have a nutrient management plan for those in conjunction with those permits. They're required to submit an update every year to our office. Let's see if I can find my notes back. Lost myself. And many of these landowners and producers may fall under multiple reasons to have that permit or that plan. Over the last few years, we have worked very hard to get our landowners either remain in compliance with the nutrient management plan requirements or to get back into compliance. Producers have two options to develop a plan. They can hire a consultant to develop their plan and work with them to implement it, or they can attend a nutrient management certification class. There's three options for that. One is they can attend a class at Western Tech College in Independence, or they can participate in an online class that UW Extension and DATCAP put on. And there's also a self-paced, web-based course that they can attend or they can complete. Once they complete any of those courses, they are certified to write their own plan, but they must be recertified every 4 years. So last year, we had about 10 CCAs worked with 58 producers to write their plans, which covered 41,227 acres. We had 41 farmer-written plans submitted, covering 21,538 acres. 17 of those farmer-written plans had taken the class at Western Tech College last year, so we utilized just a little under $4,600 of DAT funds to reimburse them for that tuition at Western. Once we get a plan, I review it for compliance, make sure that it's meeting all the requirements of the 590 standard. This includes the rotation requirements, nutrient applications, and soil sample requirements. Last year, we had about, 41 plans that came in with some kind of non-compliance issue. Of those, 31 of them, we had 31 that were soil sample issues, whether they were outdated soil samples or too few soil samples on the farm or on the field. We had 10 issues of high phosphorus on the plan, 9 issues of excess soil loss, and then we had 6 for over-application of nitrogen. Of those 41 plans, there was actually 56 total compliance issues. And of those 56, 35 were addressed by the plan writer before they sent it in. Whether it was high phosphorus levels, so they said, hey, we're gonna reduce phosphorus on these fields until we get it back down. Or if it was soil loss, we're gonna start implementing different practices to get those back into compliance. And the rest of them, we are working actively with those landowners and producers to try to get them back into compliance. This could include everything from cost share or, meeting with them to develop a plan to get them back into compliance, so. Going forward into 2026, we are still working with Western Tech College. The class is being offered right now. So we've got that going on. We are still offering soil sample reimbursement for cost share on that. And we are trying something new this year where we're offering a $150 incentive to any farmer-written plan if they meet all the compliance issues and receive it by the deadline. That's something we're trying to do this year because, we've always got those few stragglers that are hanging out there, and we're trying to get them to get those plans in on time. And then another thing that we secured some DAT money for was a compliance or nutrient management implementation review. That's where I'll sit down with the plan writer, if it's a CCA, and the landowner to kind of go through the plan and see what's working for them and what isn't, and maybe just, offer that assistance to help them implement their plan a little bit better. With that, the landowner can get a $150 stipend for his time. The CCA can do the same thing, and then that CCA, in order to keep his certification, he has to get continuing education units, and we could offer 1 unit to that. So the big thing that's coming up this next year or two is the SNAP Plus program that they use to develop their plans is going from version 2 to version 3. I'm learning as I'm helping people learn how to do it too, so it is a little bit different, but it's something that I think will be better in the long run. That's all I got. Anybody got any questions?
Go ahead, yep, go ahead, Randy.
I guess it's not about nutrient management, but every time I hear farmland preservation, if nothing more than bring it up, is there no interest in the county anymore about reviving? And then also, is that one ag enterprise area that was developed, is that still active?
Yes, that is the only place we can sign new contracts for farmland preservation. I have sent out, postcards and letters and included stuff with anything else I'm sending out. Did have a couple of people call me, shortly after I sent the last one out in December, with interest, sent them all the information, told them that, we can definitely help them go through the process. have not heard back. I'm continuing to try to get the word out. So, I don't know if there's a reason why people aren't interested in it, or if it's just lack of hearing about it, but I know we have multiple people that, you know, the main thing with the farmland preservation program, if you have the compliant nutrient management plan, that covers the vast majority of the requirements you need. We have multiple landowners down in that Arcadia Township that have a nutrient management plan, and it would just be a matter of filling out the paperwork and getting that tax credit, but don't seem to have a lot of interest at this point.
Thanks.
Yep. Any other questions from Rick?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Very good. All right, item number 10, solar farm, discussion, possible action. I don't know, is there any new
Nothing, I
information?
mean, I did find that stuff that Tony had brought up at the last meeting, and I think it was included in your packet, what Columbia County had come up with. And, it's kind of a much more in detailed version than what we had for our conditional use permit recommendations, I guess.
Mhm.
So, I mean, other counties have done this, you know, we have that list of recommendations. So, I mean, I don't know which way we wanna go as far as this much entailed, or, you know, stick with what we have on ours, that kinda covers a lot of that too, I mean, but nothing new otherwise. I mean, I haven't heard anything from that one up in Sumner lately. We did talk with them a few months back, and that sounded like they were gonna push to apply for something here early this summer.
Okay,
Haven't heard anything about the southern ones,
okay.
so.
I'll just say what's kind of off-the-wall information. One of my concerns with this has been potential contamination over, say, hailstorms, et cetera. The situation in Eau Claire last year where that major hailstorm went through were how many hundreds of cars and how many hundreds of roofs? To the knowledge of the person I was talking to, not one single solar panel was broken through that. So that may be good news on this. Just
Yep, go ahead, Tom.
I did talk with Renee down in Columbia County too, a follow-up kind of on some things. I had some questions on, one, what do you do if a hailstorm does? Can you hold them accountable to clean up, or some, since there is toxins in these panels, supposedly, I don't know for sure, with silver, lead, cobalt, polysilicons. But she did say that when they do put a conditional use permit on these smaller ones, by year 10, they have a decommissioning plan being established with the landowner and the operator to start dialogue. They wrote that in the conditions so that there is conditions met to follow through with things.
That's a good one.
That is good.
You know, they haven't, everything's too early yet, like they said. They just developed this in the last 5 years, but by year 10, they feel that the, you know, lifespan is about 15 years or whatever it's starting to. So they're figuring, yes, where are you gonna go with these to a landfill? Do you have a contract? How much is it gonna cost? Or are you gonna replace them and extend the contract? But yeah, as far as the hail, they don't know what to do with that yet. I mean, do we hold them accountable to like a nutrient management plan? Yes, it's not, but there is elements in there that are environmentally hazardous.
And it's, to piggyback on what you said, where I wrestle with is once they're placed and we give them the permit, even if they don't meet that requirement, what are we gonna do?
And there has been systems that have filed bankruptcy, just
Right.
like the sand mines.
It's just so, it just puts you in a place, it's a bad spot. And we
Well,
can't
my-
control it
right,
either way.
My opinion is if they're gonna go green, why do they gotta remove topsoil and all this? Everything on there is carbon capturing. That's what we've learned through science was,
I mean,
you know, everything.
they want us to no-till and
Yes.
save the soil and things like that.
Save soil loss and this and that,
then
but yet
they
you
go
can
and
excavate
plow it off.
hundreds of acres or whatever, you know, whether we limit them to only expose so much, if they are gonna excavate some at a time, yeah, it delays the time period, but we are responsible for groundwater environment. As Mark said, we got a lot of impervious waterways that lead to class 1 trout streams. That's our tourism, that's our wildlife, you know, that's the other thing. We have a lot of whitetail around here. You put fences around 1,600 acres, well, that limits a travel corridor to a certain area. Are the insurance rates gonna go higher? Is there gonna be more incidences of vehicle damage? I don't know.
I don't-
Or
yeah.
more wildlife damage claims through the DNR? I mean, we're kind of in a unique area here with the driftless area.
It's all plausible,
Yes.
yeah.
But I mean, as Mark says, and I did talk with Corporation Council too last meeting or whatever, if we are gonna move forward to try to protect some of this or whatever, we gotta do so before somebody applies for a permit.
For- yeah.
Because otherwise, when they apply, the previous standards is what they have to go by.
Fair.
So I mean, if we are gonna adopt something in here, which, you know, ours is broad, but it's not as detailed as this, I don't know how Mark feels. I mean, if we can just adopt this into ours?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, I know, it's just something that hopefully isn't, I mean, it's good to do our due diligence, but just like some of the, like the wind ordinance that we adopted, the state made it irrelevant pretty much, I guess. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try, you know? Because I know right in there, right in here, I just was kind of scamming through here, and it basically says the equipment must have the capability to withstand extreme weather events. And, well, obviously, the hail damaged these things, and then they reference Underwriter's laboratory about what, that's probably what's in this thing, but yeah, I mean, I kind of looked in our ordinance, I mean, let's be honest, is archaic for the most part, and didn't plan for these things. But we do have a section in the ordinance that addresses uses not listed, unclassified uses, you know, if an unclassified use, you know, if it's determined that, like say, you know, the first part of it is an unclassified use, you kind of go with what's similar. Well, there ain't really nothing similar to this. You know, and the second part of it is, you know, if it's unclassified use, we can deny it in writing. But that's not saying that they would push it, you know, and things like that. And then, the other way would be to put something like this in our ordinance to address it and have it be a classified use, so. I mean, that's,
Andy, you had a thought to
Yeah,
share?
just the way it sounds, we have an avenue we can go towards when it comes to Hannah. I mean, the way she's talking, she knows a lot of information. I think we should bring her on board when it comes to this information too. So we can get some
yeah, I mean,
feedback
I don't
from
know what her extent is as far as from a zoning enforcement kind of standpoint. It's more of a, I don't know,
knowledge standpoint.
yeah, I mean,
I think that's a big promotion part of it. In Vernon County, they were promoting it highly as far as the solar use. So I think she is on the end that, you know, we've got to be able to, work
yeah,
together
were
with
they
it.
talking big fields like this down there, or because the nature of that area, there's people that probably have it on their little farm, you know, all that kind of stuff. But,
Yeah,
I mean,
I would guess that's a little more small scale.
If you've driven
we can
through
do
like
that
Westby
anyways
and
when we
stuff.
permit things. Like someone wanted one in their yard, we just permit it with a land use, and then it gets inspected by the, like Kyle inspects those. But, I'm open to anything, I guess, you know, if we really want to seriously consider, I mean, I'll talk with Susan too. If we want to implement something like this and put it as a new section in our ordinance, you know, that's.
That's what would the timeline be? I assume we'd have to have a public hearing on it again, so,
Yeah,
to make any amendments. So I mean, if we do.
it's always a month or two down the road, you know, as far as stuff goes, I mean, and, but if one came in, you know, I think the avenue of denying, you know, just say we don't have it as a classified use and have that in writing, and in the meantime, if we had something in place before they applied, or were allowed to apply, then it would be in place, but. I mean, I get strange emails all the time from this one guy that wants to know if we change anything, every month, he says. So I don't know what they're lingering in the background or who he works for, but he's always asking, what's new, what's new, what's new, you know? And, I mean, they got companies that do the dirty work for them and call and ask us questions, and they got another company that, it's like the sand mine thing all over again, you know? Could be 20 different owners, you don't know who the heck you're dealing with. And then when push comes to shove at the end of it all, if they're bankrupt, how are you gonna how are you gonna
Get your money
reclaim
back.
anything? you know?
And most of this is not servicing us. It's being exported to.
Well, I mean, you gotta, I mean, that's a. I don't know if
Another
that's
animal.
something we can, I don't know, I mean, it doesn't say, I mean, we're going for what's using, what the land use is, not where the
Right.
stuff is going, I guess, you know.
Right,
Some
we can't
people, if
control
they-
that, and it's a revenue stream for the county municipality that it affects, I understand that, but yet, we're still here to protect the environment.
Yeah, I mean, definitely want to do what we can, and if, in the perfect world, they would
Put it
go
out in
somewhere where they're
Arizona.
more welcome, I guess, put it that way, but I guess
Right.
they'll go where they want to go.
Yeah.
Was gonna ask, you know, Corp Counsel if she had read the, you know, Columbia material.
I did take a look at it, and I had some prior awareness about this. Some of this I think we could do. Some of it I have a little bit of concern about, but it's doesn't mean no, or it means that maybe we address that particular section. But we could look at this and review it further and bring something back. Certainly, there's the ability to specify what is our application process and what is our requirements within that piece of it. If there are other things that need to be reviewed, we could take a look at that too. I guess it's really up to the committee where it wants to go with it.
Okay,
Question. So say like what we're looking at from Columbia County, what's enforceable? What can we actually put in there?
So their zoning administrator is currently on medical leave, and I wanted to consult and contact him because I know they've had some issues with this since it's been implemented. And, you know, sometimes those issues are worked out and there's an agreement that's arranged that doesn't become litigation, and I'd like to know what those are before we, you know, proceed with this. And I also did contact them, and last I heard, he's still on medical leave. So I'd like to learn a little bit more. I think some things are certainly things we can do now. Some I just have a little bit more of a concern. The setbacks, for example, would be one of them.
okay.
So it looks like we're not in a position to do any movement right now on developing policy until we understand the litigation possibilities or the changes that they use.
It's up to you guys. So we could do this concurrently. So we could start working on a draft if that is what you guys want to do. I would probably recommend, just as a quick glance, as I mentioned, for example, the setbacks, that's been a low-hanging fruit for a long time with these, you know, throughout the conversation. So we can say you can identify them, but we can't use that as a factor. We could still try to touch base with them too. And so do both.
Munson?
But most of these are for under 100 megawatt is what we're basically discussing. I mean, we can just put a JDA, you know, try to for anything over.
Right.
But I mean, to me, we would have more legs to stand on anything smaller scale is what I guess we're presenting or,
Right, still
we're
within the
talking about,
confines
right.
of the statute, so.
But I mean, is it just,
You got large solar addressed on there, in that language there. I mean, there's some things in here that I haven't dealt with since conservation stuff, where like cultural resources. Here they're gonna ask for people to hire a third party to go do a cultural resource study, you know? When you start requiring things like that and they're not I mean, I think their ordinance is good, you know, I mean, they got it spelled out pretty good in there, but I guess my problem is the enforceability and what our right actually is, I guess, you know.
right.
You know.
I mean, I've just got literature now on the new transmission line going from Blair to up north or whatever, and that's what they have hired as a third party to do the environmental studies, and they're gonna pay you X amount of dollars to supposedly do this, whether we trust that, if that's for permission to grant everything, but, I mean, it's not, in my opinion, it wouldn't be unquestionable to ask or them to have a third party to do these studies.
No,
I
I
mean-
don't think that part is not unreasonable, especially since we do have tribal lands scattered throughout the state, and we want to be careful that we're not jumping into a larger issue.
We ran into that with cell towers, you know, they're up on top of a hill that might overlook a stream where the natives did have a settlement. And they came to us just to get the permit going, and then the cultural resources ended up, they moved on because they found something, so.
But I mean, that does give us some legal,
Yeah, I mean, it
avenues
does,
to
if it's
put
all,
conditions
if it's
on or
all
whatever.
something that we can fight for and legally do, I mean, this is a good thing to have. I mean, it's pretty well entailed, I guess it would be adding quite a bit to our ordinance.
It's thorough as heck when you start
Yes,
reading
it
through
is.
it. When I was reading through it, let's pretend I'm a permit applicant. I would have a lot of days' work if I was completing
Yeah, I
that
mean, well,
permit.
maybe, I mean, these people are used to that, but sometimes you make too many hurdles for someone to jump through, then they just get, we'll go someplace else. Not that we want to push our problems off on another county, but it would be their, because some might not have committees that are concerned or, you know, departments that are willing to write something like this up, I guess.
Well, I think we should pursue it because of the detail and thoroughness that,
Yeah, I
of
mean,
the
I like
example.
it. I mean, I looked at it.
Would we need a motion to basically move forward on this direction, if that's what we so choose?
I guess I don't know if a motion's required. I think we can direct staff to work on it, and then with the intent of having more formal discussion in March, in public hearing potentially in April. I mean, that's potential time frame. May not work.
Whether there's
may-
copyright deals, or if we just copy what they have, or just move forward, well.
If it's a good idea, it should be a good idea for everybody.
You never
Please
know.
change the county name.
Make sure you guys are pretty thorough before you run that through.
Just AI it in, it'll go on through, won't it?
Particular one, I came from Columbia
I
County.
mean, a lot of ordinances are cobbled from other people's ordinances.
Right.
Well, it's a little low to say.
I mean, it's not like it's a novel that they did copyright or whatever, but it is still plagiarism, I guess, but
Well, I mean,
everybody's ordinances are pretty similar written, you know.
We would modify this to the best that we could to meet Trempealeau County's
Right.
needs.
Okay. I think, fair to say that would be the desire of the committee,
yes.
consensus? Okay. We'll have staff work on it, and we'll do a deep dive next month and see where things go. Okay.
I'll just add, maybe to look at, the way I read this one and I think ours, under the, it just talks about have financial assurances. Can we go more specific than that?
Not really. I mean, I don't think so, but,
Okay.
but in the, excuse me, in the wind, well, not the wind, the cell tower, there's a maximum amount of financial assurance we can require, a performance bond of $20,000. It says it right in there in the statute. So, I mean, they might have something like, well, this is somewhat all new, maybe they don't have a cap. you know.
So is that the bond from the operator, or is it the bond from the landowner? Because basically,
Well, it's supposed to be the operator of the, in this case, this tower, you know.
Right.
They've turned in bonds and it was in their name, not the landowner's name.
but here, the operator's just the leasee, and the
Yeah, that's
landowner's
when it gets kinda
obligated
touchy,
to
you
take
know,
care of
where
everything else.
Everything
After life.
falls back on who owns the property, and if, you know, the other ones are just leasing their property.
See,
That's
because-
where that Hannah's input on some of the contracts you have with these people would spell some of that out, hopefully.
See, because with the sand mine owned the land. Where here, you got two parties involved.
And the cell towers rarely, it's generally the landowner yet, like when Tom Bice applied for one, it was still
Yep.
him,
Right,
you know,
yep.
Okay.
which is up, by the way, and, well, as far as I know, it's up, but there was some issues with the little triangle of the one farmer next door, oh, that little piece comes in, you know, like a 40 corner, so they just bought it from him. Otherwise, they were gonna move the driveway down a little bit, and they said, okay, we'll give you this if you're gonna go.
Well, see, that's part of the good neighbor agreement or whatever. I mean, they
Yeah.
got along and they worked it out, but I mean.
But I mean, it was, most of it was in the county road right away anyways, but there's like a little sliver, and he probably, you know, he wanted an arm and a leg for that little sliver, and I think they basically, here, get out of here, so.
Oh, yeah, you gotta use this like at our
Okay, I think we have a direction on that subject.
Yep.
So we will have more discussion next month. Item number 11 is data centers, kind of connected.
I haven't heard much more on that, other than I did look up some of Menominee's stuff, you know, and supposedly that went through, and then supposedly now it's, have some issues and it might not go through as far as the data center stuff, but, and that was the city of Menominee. And, the only thing I really seen, they were trying to define a warehouse, like we assume what a warehouse is versus what this is. You know, they did some definition changes. And then I kind of heard through the grapevine that what was passed just recently may or may not even be, well, it might not go through again or something. It was just kind of weird, you know.
Like the state made some things on that these data centers, they gotta supply their own power because they supposedly can't shut off if a power outage or whatever, they've got backup generators. They were talking about it, there could be hundreds of generators behind all of these.
Oh, yeah.
So there's more pollution there, but yet all the water requirements they need. And yeah, you can't draw supposedly the power from the municipality because, what'd they say, one of these data centers is as large as the city of Milwaukee as far as power draw and water usage?
I haven't heard that big, but I've heard quite big, yeah.
I mean, they could be depending on the size or where they're going, but I think that's the one they were talking about down in, where was it, Prairie du Chien, not, or where were they building? They were building two down south somewheres,
Is it
close
Port
together.
Washington is,
What's that?
Port Washington is one that they're
Yeah,
talking about?
Port Washington's one and another one,
Yeah, I can't remember.
something like that. But I mean, that's what they were saying is the electrical usage is the big issue. And then they're putting up natural gas plants or nuclear just for the data center. And the rest of the population can't do that? Could we
Yeah,
put
which
water
things were-
restrictions on them since it's not, I mean,
Well, right now, there's nothing in the state statute that allows them to do certain things like the solar and wind and all that. There is, but as of right now, I don't think the state has, and they will eventually cave into these things and restrict, but I don't know, just in the back of my mind, you get huge solar field, which supplies power. All of a sudden, one of these things is gonna wanna be
next to it.
out next to it. So half the town of Caledonia is going to be either a solar panel or a data center.
Correct.
And now who wants that? You know,
How do you think about that, Chair?
And then they're talking about housing, you know, they always talk about our lack of housing. Well, if you're taking away thousands of acres, that's taking away housing possibilities, and not to say agricultural.
Well, we bring up housing, yeah, that's fine, but the infrastructure for some of these cities is so old, can we handle an expansion of a subdivision coming in? You know, like the Independents and them, they're all talking their waste treatment facilities are outdated, we need to upgrade, and there's no money.
Trempealeau's added a lot of
Correct.
new areas onto their village, and their treatment plant is a glorified harvester pit kind of a looking thing, you know? So,
Yeah, it's like Eau Claire too, they're running out of volume again, and they've expanded, and they don't know what to do. Where, that's the thing, the infrastructure costs so much, you're not making enough revenue to pay for the infrastructure improvements for your housing.
Yep,
Catch 22.
spiraling.
yeah, it's,
Anything else on data centers?
I don't know
we
what
wanna
more to
touch
say on a
on?
data center, I
I
guess.
don't
mean,
know where, keep it on the
yeah.
agenda, see if anything comes up. Yep, yep, agreed. Okay,
Is there anything at the state level, like for the legislative meeting for the county boards, on data centers that we could have someone attend and find out so we're proactive rather than reactive on it? Is anybody going down to the, or Stacy, do you know if there's anything on the data centers at all? Because that's,
Not that we
And I
can-
get, what's that called, where you get all these notifications? Yeah, the Wheeler, I mean, they got tons of stuff on there. Most of it, you cannot believe that it wasn't already a law, you know, but just really everything you want to think of. So I kind of look at that, and I get that like every day.
right,
I kind of look for that kind of stuff, but No, I haven't seen anything on it.
Well, because of our water situation, we know, you know it's gonna be attractive for them to put data centers in this area. Just because the volume of water and the quality of water we have. And that's gonna be attractive to it. So we do have to prepare for it.
But that's, so how do we make them have a closed loop, or, I mean, because, yeah, they can't just discharge that water either, so I
Right.
mean,
So whatever background we can do to protect the fact that our surface waters are the main thing that we're trying to work with.
and I don't know, you know, they drill a deep enough well, would that affect the municipalities' draws? Because, I mean, you don't just go in the housing water level, you're down in the municipality and the irrigation, you're down in the commercial
And that's
water.
why I think we should try to keep an eye open for it. If there's nothing available, that's understood, but we do have to be ready because it's going to be a challenge that we have again. And the challenge is if we know them in advance, we can identify them and be able to successfully plan what's going to happen rather than let it happen to us. I'll stop.
Ms. Lewin has something.
So I was just gonna say, I mean, I think that what you're saying is accurate. If it's okay, if we as staff could find some type of learning opportunity that we could bring forward, and so that a presentation that would kind of talk about all of these points, and if that sounds like a good idea, we might want to hear more about it.
Yep, I think that'll be fine. I think plenty of education to be done.
And there's always new, I was just reading an article that was talking about drilling down 5 miles to generate the heat, to get to the heat to run a turbine.
Sounds
I
like
mean,
an
it seems
idea.
kind of Star Wars-y to me, but
My luck, I'd get nearly where I needed to be and I'd break the bit. Yeah. Start all over. Okay, well, we'll keep digging on that with staff and keep it on. the
I'll keep my
agenda.
eyes open and ears open for what other counties put out there. I mean, I got Google groups with other county administrator or county zoning. It hasn't been talked about all that much lately, but, you know, as much as the solar part of it anyways. but-
Okay. Sounds good. Item 12, zoning update from Mark.
Yeah, I guess I got a couple points on, John Skowg is running for county board. He's on our BOA. And I guess it's kind of deemed a conflict to have them on both things. So I'm gonna need a replacement for John Skowg. Also a replacement for Sharon Spar, because she's choosing not to continue it. And then also an alternate replacement. So if anybody knows somebody that might be interested or is outgoing, is no longer gonna be on the county board, you know, that wanna be on those types of things, right now.
I feel targeted, Mark.
But right now, we have a representative for Unity. Can't even think of it now, like Ettrick, Chimney Rock. So we want people from other areas. We can't double down on members in the same township. And, but yeah, John, and I don't think he's running against anybody, so it's not like he can lose.
No.
You know, and we gotta kind of be proactive that if he gets stuck on this committee, he definitely cannot be on both.
Right.
And so we kind of decided that would be best if he just was not on both, period.
Sure. If you get real desperate and you need to put a body there,
Okay?
and I understand what that means,
And I guess just put it this way, we do not encourage
right?
people
I know,
to apply for variances. You know,
Sure.
we're lucky if we
It's-
have 2 or 3 a year.
pretty rare.
And it's some circumstances, like we have one coming up in March, but it has to do with minimum lot size, you know, versus the road right-of-way. You know, the guy's, he's got 4.02 acres, including the road right-of-way, but in our ordinance, it says you must not consider the road right-of-way as the minimum lot size requirement. So that brings him down to like 3.8. So he's like 2/10 of an acre off. That's what he's applying for a variance for, you know.
Sure.
A lot of them are setbacks to like the road because there's a hill or the septic's too close, they can't. But we definitely steer people in the direction of just not trying to do the variance. I mean, look at that's how the whole railroad access stuff came up was because of a denied variance, because we denied it, or they denied it. And, so, I mean, if anybody knows anybody, I guess, I'd take anybody at this point, but I guess I'd rather have people that have a little bit of experience, one way or the other, and are available, because these meetings are during the day.
I think you're in the right track that we probably need to, but let's not be quick about removing until we find somebody, just in case.
Well, I guess the only reason I'm bringing it up now is because Mary Martin approached, or she wants to print out that directory, that. And I mean, I can understand it, but if say the directory's printed in May-ish, we wouldn't appoint anybody new till June anyways, because that's when the term expires.
I'm just, because I
So-
kind of got that same thing. I sit on the condemnation committee from the judge. And when I got elected county board, I said to the judge, I said, do I need to resign from this? And he thought a while and said, let's see what happens. Although there's, I believe, 5 on there, and there's only 3 that are used anytime. So he said, you can just stay on, so you're there when you get off county board.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll be digging around for that, members, and then I did talk to,
I think I've been, in a,
Yeah.
10-year, 12-year period, I've been involved 3 times only, so, and that was all while I was not on county board.
and then I talked to that Jacob Jones, he's the one that was in here about a month ago for that wedding, or that event venue. He says the state's gonna make him, because that Act 73 went into effect January 1 of this year, even though it was written in 3 years ago or whatever. And I didn't read the meat and potatoes of it all, but it has to do with alcohol serving. So he's being told he has to put up a whole new building that can meet commercial code to meet one of the requirements of that Act 73. I said, what happens if you have a little bar on the side and they wander into the barn and they're dancing and drinking? Well, it seems like wherever you're consuming this alcohol would be the issue. So, and he just brought that to my attention yesterday. And then what else? Well, I mean, the future agenda items, there's gonna be 2 rezones next month, so.
Okay.
So can I ask, how's that gonna affect ones that are already serving alcohol and not having that commercial?
Well, I mean.
Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, when I reached out to Brett Radke in regards to some of the apple orchard type buildings he said they're supposed to be meeting commercial building code regardless of what they're zoned, and I would assume that would be the same with this too. Because he made it sound like it's gonna put a lot of people out of business, because
Correct.
they have an existing business that might be old, repurposed type structure, and all of a sudden they're told they gotta upgrade all this. It might be too much for them to have to do all that. So, I just printed it off yesterday and it's like this thick, so I didn't read it all, but, and it has to do mostly with the alcohol kind of stuff, and the requirement of commercial grade structure where the alcohol is consumed. But,
Okay. Okay. Anything else on zoning you want to share?
no, I think that's enough for now, so.
All right. Item 13, conservation update from Haley.
Okay. I'm gonna just piggyback a little bit on the zoning part of it. We are moving forward with our zoning or permitting software. There's still bugs in it. We're still working through that, along with the financial part of our new software and our permitting software. They're not talking as what we thought they would, so we are working through that bug as well. With our new permitting software, which is Ascent or T-Tech, whichever one you want to call it, the UDC aspect, so the building inspector aspect of it, it does not upload to the state as our previous one did. So, we have a solution. GEC, who is the company that we contract for our building inspections, they have a program that they created and we can use it and have access to it, download everything we need as far as documents and everything, and they will upload everything to the state. So, moving forward, contractors, if there's any building inspections, so like a new home, additions, anything like that, they will have to submit it through GEC's link that we will put on our website. It's not up there yet. I don't have it. We're working through that. Many softwares coming at this point. And so we are working with them to get that rolling. We were happy to hear that there are contractors already applying in this system without them even knowing that we were moving towards it. And they were doing this 2 years ago. Contractors were applying on their website, and Kyle would have to turn them away and say, nope, you need a paper copy, and send it to this county. So I'm glad to hear that they were actually ahead of the ball and ahead of the game. And so I think there will be bumps along the way, but it'll be a transition that I think everyone will enjoy. And then that'll take us uploading to the state or having a random landowner try to upload to the state. So we're moving through that. On that side note, as well as we're updating our zoning permit to simplify it. Favorite thing, right, Kevin? Let's simplify. Instead of having a very lengthy application that was the building and the land use together, which I found out that was a state form we modified, and I don't know if we were supposed to, but besides the point, we have updated our zoning permit. I haven't put it out anywhere yet. I just wanted to show you guys that this is going to be what we are moving towards. If I can figure out how to share again. Just a second. Hold, please. Okay, so, and then I'll zoom her in here if this ever comes up. And I will talk to Susan as well, so we haven't put any of this out as far as, the new permit, but this is just a draft of what we're going with. Essentially, it's going to be very straightforward of landowner information. If you're having a contractor, put it in there. What is your project? The municipality acknowledgement is still on there because it is in our ordinance. It writes in, check, cash, or credit, and then we give them you can mail it, drop it off, or call us. Our information as far as like our office use, example site plan so that they can follow along and make their own site plan, our setbacks that were in the ordinance, which a lot of this was pulled from our current. It just makes it a little bit easier to read. They have to fill out a site plan, and then the statement of the landowner is responsible for all the legal stuff, which I will have Susan review before we put any of this out. But I wanted to let you guys know that this is coming. I don't know an official date because we're still working with GEC on getting their link before we pull everything off our website and put up new. So it's coming. But this will make things simpler. It will work with everything we need. So all of our permitting systems will eventually work in the long run.
Awesome.
So that was just a piggyback off of the zoning part of it there so that we can keep working through it. So, now as far as our questions on that before I move into conservation.
Sounds good to me, Tony.
I had a party looking for, he just wanted a fire number by a piece of property that he bought a couple of years ago, so that if he got lost hunting, they knew where to find him. But he was looking how to fill out an application. And it's when I looked under the county's website, it's under signage instead of like a driveway permit. That's what I thought it was. And yeah, Uniform 911 is where I found it. And so I forwarded that information to him, and that would be land records or whatever instead of zoning. But it was just kind of a little confusing. It's like, okay, I had got to think and look on where to find things, but I don't know.
And I know our website isn't the easiest to read, so hopefully going through and modifying some of these permits and what is required, that will allow for the website to be a little less cluttered.
My other question is, if GEC is doing the uploading, is that another fee or that's included in everything? Good.
It will be included. The program is free. So, and that was our main question as well when we talked to GC, but nope, they already have the program. They're already using it. So Kyle is typing in all this information. We're apparently quadruple entering everything at this point, which is obnoxious in my mind. So why are we doing that? Let's
Save
simplify
everybody
it.
time, Yeah,
So yes, no additional fee on that part of it.
that's good to know.
Yeah. So, yeah, conservation wise, we will move on to that. Rick and Morgan are working with the DACAP engineer, who is Kelly. So we have moved regions within DACAP. We are no longer Northwest, we are Southwest. So it'll be Kelly, I'm gonna probably butcher her last name, it's like Nitzel or Netzel, something along that lines. And she's been really great about, meeting with us. We have a reoccurring, open day with her if we have any questions or anything. So I'm really excited, to be working with Kelly for our, design projects and everything like that. She's been really good to work with so far, and it's only been a couple months here, so. BTFN will be having an event on March 14th. So it is a woodland management dinner is what they're calling it. So I don't have they're still solidifying speakers and everything, but it'll be at the Arcadia Golf Course. And we are hoping that people will register. There will be a dinner provided. It'll be about your woodland management on your property, and from some of they're trying to get different experts to come in, along with people that are firsthand managing their woodlands, within the BTFN group. So there's gonna be some really good discussion. I will send out more information once we have solidified information on that. But March 14th, I think is a Saturday, if I remember correctly. Okay, glad someone knows. Yes, so March 14th, I think it'll be a really great event. And if you have, I will send it out as soon as I have all the information. So just wanted to get it on the radar. Annual mining fees, we are trying to get those entered into our new permitting system. Again, it's a new system, so working through all of that. But all those are rolling in, so Morgan and I are really getting those entered in. I just talked about that. So next month, myself, Rick, and Morgan, so conservation staff, will be at our annual conference, which is March 4th through the 6th. We will not be here for the next ELU meeting, but that's been pretty standard the last however many years. So we're excited. We'll be attending there. It's in the Dells this year. Lots of great topics that are going to be talked about. So some of the sessions were hard to choose which one we wanted to go to. So, which is always great to have, but it's also disappointing because there's always two that are like, oh, I really wanted to go to the other one. So we're kind of coordinating amongst ourselves of trying to disperse, making sure we're not all at the same one. And then recently I have received a handful of phone calls pertaining to mining, some questions on existing mines, updating some plans. So I would say we may have some upcoming public hearings about mining, working through all of those questions and if they need a public hearing or not, if they're changing certain things. So those might be coming, April, May, June, just as a fair warning on that part of it. So as we are getting into 26 here, we are going to start planning for 27 already. So I will be working on the annual report for 25. We'll work on the annual work plan for 26 and then start applying for 27 grants. So lots of years we're working in at this point, but I will be bringing the information forward, and then amongst our staff within DLM, we're getting stuff compiled for our just annual report that we generally give out to you guys it's a pretty thing, so we'll get that out to you. As far as in 26 as well, the land and water plan is due, so I've been working on getting the Citizen Advisory Committee together to get that first meeting done within the next month or two. And start working on updating that plan. It has to do a full revision this year, so it's the 10-year update. Two more things here. So Rick and I met with Mara from Golden Sands, which is our aquatic invasive species grant that we get from DNR. That's the one we have the contract with. So they're the RC&D. She sent me a monthly update. It was sent out after we did the packet, so I'm just gonna pass these around. We met with her in January to kind of go over some ideas of what we think are events coming up, what she thinks she's going to be doing for us, and just moving forward. She did say year one, working within a new county, is a lot of contact making, there should be enough, I think, for everybody. And just making sure that the word gets out there. We did say that if there is any events that we hear of, she will let her know. She is going to be helping out with our Great Outdoors Camp that we're partnering with UW Extension, so she'll be a presenter there. And then we also potentially talked about doing some signage along the trout stream easements that we put money in towards, just about aquatic invasive species and along that line. So it was a really great conversation. I'm really excited to see where we go, since we haven't really had a lot of AIS work done within the county, so this is a great opportunity to get started and get rolling, so. Then, last but not least, the poster and speaking contest was held. Thank you to those that voted on the poster. Posters, we sent the first place winners in each category on to the regional, and none of our posters are moving on to state from regionals, which is a little disappointing, but that's okay. There's always a lot of posters, and they're hard to judge, and it's amazing to see what kids will do. So we had 114 this year, which is awesome. Some of the categories were definitely very hard to choose one to go forward, so. And then as far as our speaking contest, we had 3 speakers, 2 in elementary division and 1 in junior. So we had 1 elementary, 1 junior, so first in each category, move on to regionals. And both of our speakers are moving on to state. So they won first in regionals, so they will be moving on to state. And that is held at our annual conference on the first day. So that's March 4th. And if you would like, I can send out, I do have a recording that we did send to the regionals for both speakers. I can share them with you guys because they did do an awesome job. They're very interesting speeches, and it was just a really fun event to be at. So I will report back to see where they fall within the state contest, and it's awesome to have representation from Trempealeau County again. I think this is honestly probably, I think we've had one every single year I've been here, so this will be year 4 or 5 that we've had one going forward at state, so, which is really cool to have.
Haley, did you send a press report or press release out on that as far as the results and everything yet, or not?
I haven't yet, because
Okay.
I wasn't sure if I should do it now or wait till state to do, that, but I
'Cause
definitely
used to
send it out.
steal yours all the time for all my
Oh,
Farm
yes.
Bureau reports.
Yep.
And I know if you do put it out, they get it in the spring newsletter. So if you do
Perfect.
get a chance to get it out,
Yes.
because it was, all the farmers want to hear that conservation speaking is still going on.
Yeah.
And that's something that really is a highlight that we like to use.
Yes, I will definitely get that out. Thank
And
you
I'll-
for the
I'll pa-
reminder.
I'll pass it on to whoever has my position now to make sure they put that in the newsletters too. Because that
Perfect.
was always a highlight. They'd love
Yes.
that.
Sounds great. I will definitely get that out, and I appreciate the reminder. There's been a lot of
right.
other things going, so.
You bet.
But that is what I have for conservation. Any questions? I know it was a lot in a short time.
Questions for Haley? She's got a lot on her plate there. Sounds good, thank you.
Yeah,
Good job on the contest. It was all very interesting.
thank you.
Okay, item 14, future agenda items. I know Mark had mentioned probably 2 rezones in March. Anything else on top of what we've already got on our agendas? Nothing burning?
If I have something, more information on any of the stuff we talk about on a monthly basis, I'll bring that along too. And then
Sounds good. Next meeting date, Wednesday, March 4th. Of course, our conservation staff will be absent, but we've done this before.
Yep. I'll just provide like a
Written
update like
report.
I have previously.
Yep, I think that'll be just fine. Stick with our 8:30 time, I think that works well. So with that, I will move on to adjourning the meeting at 9:45. Thank you, everyone.